Under the thick veil of autumn fog, the sleepy town of Briar Ridge sat in anxious anticipation of a long, bitterly cold night. The church bell tolled 9 times, echoing through the deserted streets, while faint light flickered behind curtained windows. It was the sort of night that whispered secrets, and tonight everyone felt the chill of something unnatural pressing in on the town. Maria, a somber woman with thoughtful hazel eyes, lived alone in a decaying cottage at the edge of the woods. She was used to solitude, but tonight there was an uneasy stillness lurking in every shadow. She bolted her doors and stoked her hearth, searching for comfort in routine until 3 sharp knocks sounded at the threshold, each one reverberating like a warning. On her doorstep stood a stranger, tall and finely dressed in a midnight coat, his skin pale as moonlight and his eyes the unnatural red of fresh blood. He introduced himself as Lucian and begged for shelter, claiming to be lost and cold. Against every instinct, Maria invited him in, telling herself it was only kindness, despite the silence that stretched between them like a growing void. Lucian sat by the fire, eyes tracing the flickering flames with a hungry intensity. Maria offered him bread and soup, but he declined with a polite smile, lips barely parting to reveal a flash of sharp white teeth. She watched him closely, an undercurrent of dread twisting inside her as each passing minute felt heavier than the last. Thunder roared outside, but inside the cottage, time seemed to coil back on itself. In the shadows cast by the fire, Lucian began to speak, recounting tales of foreign lands and moonlit hunts. There was something hypnotic in his voice, each syllable laced with menace and mourning. Maria tried to resist, but her mind drifted between dreams and waking fear, and she realized with mounting horror that she could not move from her chair. Lucian's eyes glowed like embers as he reached out his hand. Wind howled through the cracks, and the room dimmed until only his face was visible in the murky glow. He leaned close, breath icy and sweet, whispering words Maria couldn't comprehend. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but she was paralyzed, transfixed by the dread beauty of the vampire. With a sudden rush, Lucian bared his fangs, shadows congealing around him as he drew nearer. Maria's vision blurred, her heart hammered in her ears. Yet just as the cold touch of death seemed inevitable, the grandfather clock in the hall chimed midnight, 12 deep, resonant strokes that shattered the enchantment. Lucian recoiled, hissing, burn marks searing across his alabaster skin where the grandmother's silver candlesticks reflected the moonlight. He stammered backward through the air, vanishing into the night, leaving only ice and terror in his wake. Maria slumped to the floor. The room was silent, save for the wind rattling the windows. Outside, the fog retreated, as if afraid of the new dawn. Maria glanced at the door, still slightly ajar, and understood that some guests never truly leave. They linger on thresholds, hungry for warmth, waiting for the next soul to open the door.